typical Nigerian thing. I have the nation's financial managers before us, and they are made to look stupid, but they are not. One of the touching points that I have not had been mentioned either from them or from us is the issue of the criminalization of the dollar. Sir, in the last 10 years, nobody takes bribe buying dollars. Nobody gives bribe buying dollars. Sufficiently, nobody has addressed this in, because most of us have been affected because we're involved.
He came late.
Secondly, what guarantee will the CBN give to go back to its core mandate of being banker? The bastardization of the dollar actually starts from the CBN, and because sufficient people that are in government today and in government in the last 2 decades are involved. I have had the deputy governor mention billions of dollars being swept away through the CBN, and it is lamentation. Apart from Emifele, nobody has been called to account. And if we continue like this, Nigerians are looking at us. We are going nowhere. The fact of the matter is that we must be more accountable, more serious than this, because it is naive, sir, for us here to raise the issues of monetary and fiscal policies to you. You have the best credentials. We know you. We know where you're coming from. When I sit here and I said I'll prepare economic solutions to you, you've been selected because you are the very best that we have at the moment. If I'm here, please let me round up. I'm a senator. I have the privilege to ask this question, to propose solutions to you. I've been naive. I cannot deceive myself. Sirs, the issues of monetary and fiscal policies are minute, very minute to what is happening in this country. The fact of the matter, people are stealing these dollars because they know nothing will happen to them, and it is our responsibility as citizens to come up with solutions. These issues of dollar bribe and dollar taking is from top to bottom.
Time up.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
We don't clap in the Senate.
Yeah, Chairman.
Shut him up and just get him to, not speak on this matter. But again, it's time for us to hear from you on these issues. Join the conversation now. 09073530044 and 09087668888. Send SMS and WhatsApp messages to 09097054450. Don't forget that NLC, the Trade Union Congress as well, that's the organized labor, has issued a 14-day ultimatum to the federal government. That 14 days started to read from the 9th of February. And as soon as it clocks 14 days, we'd hope to see what the organized labor will do. And that's why this conversation is back up again. If we totally ground the economy, what's going to be left of it? Join the conversation. Let's hear from you.
That's right. Talking about joining the conversation, you should also be aware of the fact that we have a website, and that will be www.eaglesfm.com. All right, let's go take this call right away. Hello, good morning. Hello? Good morning. Okay, that's a miss. Keep the calls coming through. Let's have your thoughts on the matter and have a worthy discourse on it.
Absolutely. Don't forget, we talked about the ban on sachet alcoholic drinks and the sachet ones and the 200 milliliter content. We've also talked about the minimum wage. Yes, that's the big issues we're talking about this morning.
Hello, good morning. Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning to you. What's your name? Where you calling from?
It's a passenger from Niger, Amali.
All right, Obasanjo, welcome to the program. Let's have your thoughts.
Thank you. I agree. And the way
Yes.
and the way bounce, why? Because Nigeria yesterday, he read for us. Most of Nigeria, plenty Nigerian come out with more than so when they watch ball, when they don't even know what they call ball. So all of them come out say they want watch ball. If you say that unity is just like that, you cannot pursue this government out. Why? Because like government for every country, you know good. Why? Because you know she say as they talk, say one woman, one president come out. Why? Because some of 1 or 2 days for 2 years only. She come out, leave the government. Why? Because she don't want to be called to bar, or she don't want to be judged by God, or she don't want to be judged by the poor masses. So the Nigerians, you can hear Senator Ninji who was talking. Why? Because they had the privilege of getting these dollars. They have been paying for dollars. We have not been seeing these dollars. We don't even know. I don't even know what is the dollar. I only heard it on newspaper when you people read. Said I have not seen a dollar. I only see Sefa. It's a big threat to this country that most of our leaders, they don't care about the poor man, the poor masses of this country. And secondly, they want to put us in this bad shape because in 2027, they will come and use these dollars again. Give us one spaghetti, one indomie, and the other things. Why? Because they will come up with this. Sir, let me just shock you. There's one of this 10 assembly that he was talking. I was listening to him. He was saying, "What life?" He was off the air. He was telling the people, the masses, that this country is corrupt, very too corrupt, and the way of this country to go forward is that let military take over the country again. If not, if the politicians.
Obasanjo, I don't think that would be a call that that should
No,
be made on radio. Let's not have that. Let's not have that conversation.
No,
not
I am
now,
just saying
please.
it why because he was talking to the people in his constituency. He was telling them that the country has gone far by what? By corrupt. He inside the system. But he said what is happening over there is corrupt. Nobody is agreed to say let me lay down that the life of people.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
thank you
much.
so
Thank you
much.
very much, Obasanjo. Appreciate you calling in.
Let's take another call. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Taking me.
Hello. Can you hear me? You might want to speak up so we can hear you. Your voice is very, very low. Or better still, it will be very appreciated if you call back so we can have a better understanding as to what you're saying. Well, yeah, the discourse is still on. I mean, one of the key arguments for the ban on sachet water, beg your pardon, did I say sachet water? Sachet alcohol is that is linked number of health problems, including liver disease, premature death. It's also associated with increased crime and violence. Yeah, increased crime and violence, especially among young people. Now, the ban has also been met with some resistance. Like I mentioned earlier, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria has come out saying that they're not in with NAFDAC. But another point in check would have been the fact that, hey, who should have the final say when it comes to whether or not a certain product or drug or something should be out there in public? Should it be the Manufacturers Association?
That's NAFDAC's call when it comes to what Nigerians consume or ingest. That's all absolutely their call. But again, all of those factors linked to sachet alcohol is also linked to the large containers or large bottle of
Right.
alcohol. So the only thing is this one's cheaper and more affordable to the ordinary people, which
Right.
is why some people have a problem with it. They say, oh, whatever makes the poor people happy is what they want to take away. If the rich people can afford to buy those big bottles, we cannot afford them. And that's the only way, that some people get by. Yeah. But again, I think we need to control addiction. We need to control and manage our health, because if children and people below the age, I think that another thing that should have been done would be to provide regulation that would discourage people selling alcoholic content
Right.
to children. All right. We had a time. There is a time. I mean, there's several civil society organizations. In fact, the law does not permit for alcohol and cigarettes to be sold to children, right? But people say we have laws in Nigeria. In Nigeria, we have a lot of laws. It's the implementation that's always the problem. So why don't we strengthen those laws and implement them to such a point where children cannot be seen with alcohol? Children cannot be. I mean, if it works in other climes, why can't it work here? If you have to buy alcohol, you must be able to provide an identity card that says this is how old you are. That proves how old you are. I mean, that's one way to go about it.
Well, let's take this call though. Hello. Good morning. Hello. All right, that's a mistake, and yet another one. Hello. Good morning.
No, good morning, Prince.
Good morning.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Obunna Jackson Prince on the line.
All right.
Welcome.
Let's have your
Let me
thoughts.
just say that based on this band of alcohol on Sachet, somebody asked question one second, if it is put in the bottle, will it be banned also? And the answer is no. Rich men people buy it in bottles. Yes, they don't drink it in sachet. It's the same quantity or the type of alcohol they also drink. Okay, how many companies that produce this alcohol have this NAFDAC or whoever that is there has closed down? It's concluding that, let me give you one say, this is the small start is an alcohol, but it was 1759. It's not now. Alcohol has been produced before our great grandfathers. Till today, bottle of small start is alcohol is still existing till today. But in this ordinary side, they don't know. They know the content. They know what this was used to make it, either locally or internationally, whatever. So we still have sachet alcohol in, but it depends how it is consumed. It's not about 18 years or teenagers or whatever. It's the source of it coming into this country, or how is it produced, or those who are producing it. That's just the problem. How many of the company has been shut down? Or some, that's some other organization like that, who regulate all those things. We are just wasting our time. Even though it is on paper, they can make it as a comment or a statement or a topic. But can it exist? No. If the local water they are selling it, they are even though hiding it. Even apart from the sachet, they are even though producing the most dangerous one in bottles. In my place where we come from, we know all those things. If they will just come, let's just make that then on the minimum wage of the distance. 200,000 maybe going to 1 million now based on how things are. Yeah, it will be good. If a worker will be paid 1 million, then we are doing business. They can be able to bring that money to them. But the way things are going in this country, it's just now they say we are the court. Like somebody was saying, unity. There is no unity. They have divided themselves. I'm not among. They have divided themselves of what they want to use to divide the country. Now, I had a story that they are looking for a next wife and the three others. Don't they know where they are? Do they need advice from us? We keep on commenting, right? I think I know how many years I've been commenting already. There is no solution, no nothing. It's what they decided to do. 8 years has gone on Buhari. Now this one has gone. Well,
Thank you.
the only thing I know with God, all things are possible. We are not looking on them. The administration will come and go. So what God says will remain. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Very much. Let's talk a little more on the minimum wage issue. So if the organized labor is saying 200,000 or 1 million naira should be considered for minimum wage, what would the economy look like with that? The inflation is probably going to hit the roofs. If again you increase minimum wage and inflation continues to rise, it's just going to suck it up. So I think the basic thing is to tackle the inflation.
Right.
Let's bring down the inflation to maybe less than double digits if we can, because currently it's inching to its 30% headline inflation, and if that's the case, even if you're paid, let's say if you're paid 200,000 naira minimum wage, it means that 30% of that money is gone even before it gets to you. Right?
Okay.
And if you borrow money, you're going to have to pay a lot more, because then the monetary policy rates or the interest rates will be high. So it's just going to, and we all know that most workers in the country live on loans. From one paycheck to the next, they pay off the loan, whatever loans they have, and then they borrow
another
again.
one.
Also, there are many states that haven't been able to implement the 30,000 naira minimum wage. Some states have not been able to pay anything that looks like a wage award. Even the federal government has struggled to pay the 35,000 naira wage award that it promised. So where is it going to get the money to pay more minimum wage as it is, even in the 2020, like the 2024 budget? Would it be able to accommodate minimum wage up to 100,000 naira for every federal worker? How many states will be able to pay 100,000 naira? Let's keep it at 100,000.
Well, if you put it that way, though, I'm sure a Nigerian listening right now would have a question to counter that angle, or that school of thought. Now, the question would now be, where do we see all this monies to fund the lifestyle of some of these politicians? If you recall, as soon as the Senate got into power, there was buying of new cars and all of that. Where do we see all of these monies from? Because Nigerians are asking the same questions. If you're saying that we cannot maintain that, but we're seeing a lavish lifestyle.
Well, again, that goes back to how we can see our leaders, what I talked about earlier, taking responsibility and fixing, going back to the roots of the problem. If we have senators who just sit back and sometimes not even attend plenary, and they go home with millions of naira.
That's it.
Maybe that's a way we need to begin to look at.
So is it cutting cost of governance?
Yeah, I mean, we've always lamented that. Cut the cost of governance. Cut the cost of governance. It's too much. Maybe we should collapse the National Assembly and have one, a unicameral legislature, rather than have the bicameral. Where, I mean, what are they really doing? Let's have one. Let's have one. One National Assembly, or whatever you call them now, and also cut down the number of people in the cabinet. We don't need 50 ministers. We don't need 48 ministers. Successive governments have come and gone and didn't have up to 40 ministers. I don't think that any of them have had more than 40 ministers. And also, for those who do not understand what minimum wage is, because I understand we have a lot of young people who are listening now, minimum wage is the smallest amount, or the least amount any worker should be paid. So if you're the entry level, or even what's it now? It's not even for entry levels, for cleaners and all of those people who are the lowest cadre. They should be able to get this amount, and then every other person can get more, as you go up the ladder. But the least amount that government should pay anyone, or employers should pay anyone, should be that amount. And that's what the organized labor is saying. 30,000 naira isn't worth it. Now, just to give you a little background, the first time that the minimum wage was declared in Nigeria was in 1981. At the time, the minimum wage was set at 1,500 naira per month for public sector employees. This was later increased to 3,000 naira per month in 1991. And in 2000, the minimum wage in Nigeria was increased to 5,500 naira per month. In 2011, the Nigerian government implemented the new minimum wage of 18,000 naira per month. This was increased. This was an increase of over 500% from the previous minimum wage of 3,000 naira per month. And then in 2011, there was a revised wage to 18,500 naira in 2013. The government also increased the minimum wage to 30,000 naira per month. The minimum wage was set with the pushbacks from employers who argued that it would really hurt their profitability. But again, the inflation has, sucked that up, and people need to be paid more now, because transportation alone takes a huge chunk. I don't know how people who survive on minimum wage are actually surviving?
Well, I don't know too, and that's why there are some basic questions that should be asked. One of such questions is the fact that, hey, is the current minimum wage enough to cover the basic needs of workers? So you already mentioned that. And then the second, of course, would be, how will a higher minimum wage affect business competitiveness and investment? And of course, you might want to also consider the third, which would be, how will a higher minimum wage impact inflation and unemployment? And fourth, what other measures can be taken to support workers and address inequality besides increasing the minimum wage? Well, you could still bring that conversation on, as we have the phone lines open for you to add your voice in the discourse. 0907 353 0044 is that number to call. The other number is 0908 766 8888. Hello. Good morning. Hello. All right. Let's. What's going on with the calls now? Hello. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning. This is Comrade Aruna on the line.
All right, Comrade. Talk to us. Where are you calling from, though?
I'm calling from Sachet.
Okay, from Kuje. All right. Let's hear you.
Yes. All right. Let me react on the first issue you brought up.
Yeah.
The issue of alcohol sachet being banned. I support that, and I'm even expecting NAFDAC to even ban smoking. That is tobacco, because the rate people are smoking in public spaces nowadays is alarming. I don't smoke, I don't drink, but there are some circumstances that will take me to some places just to purchase something, and you get a smoker there. He doesn't care about the environment, he smokes. You understand? So I'm expecting them to also ban smoking, or let them increase their what is it called, their tax. Then issue of increasing minimum wage, that is not the solution to our problem. By the time you increase the minimum wage to 200,000, 1 million Nigeria is asking for, you are devaluing the naira more and more. Nigeria should be a productive nation. Let us export the dollar we are talking about. People will come to Nigeria to invest with their money. So in increasing the minimum wage, how many states have even implemented that? The Kogi state I came from, do you know that some civil servants have been paid quarter salary, half salary, percentage of their salary is being paid? I've seen somebody who posted 9,000 naira was paid, a civil servant in the state. His screenshot his credit paid him. So I want to also agree with him. The committee they are setting, those people they put there, they don't want to be in that committee, because these are people who don't encourage that. So minimum wage is not even the solution to our problem. Let us invest in agriculture. Let us invest in infrastructure. Let's bring more investors to this country. In fact, security is paramount. If the country is safe, is secure, it's need to go out to people to come and invest.
All right.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for that one. Appreciate that.
And we talk about minimum wage, but people would say we probably should be talking about living wage. And if we're talking about living wage, what would be the living wage for the average Nigerian? I understand that we want to be realistic, and sometimes we want to say, oh, the government has no money, employers have no money, and all of that. But shouldn't people be able to leave when they work? I mean, even the good book says a laborer is worthy of his wages. Shouldn't they be paid well to be able to fend for themselves and their families? That's the question. But I'm still asking, what do you think should be the proper, the acceptable minimum wage or living wage at this time as a Nigerian? I'm asking this question because I want to feel your pulse on this. Calling 09073 530044 and 09087668888. What would be an acceptable minimum wage for you? In your opinion, what do you think government and employers should be paying their employees? Also send a message to 09097054450.
Hello.
Good morning. I can hear you. Welcome.
Okay,
Big
well,
apologies there.
apologies there, yeah.
Really, really apologize. We were struggling to hear you. Seems like there was a problem with that line. But you can call the other one, 090 87668888. I'm guessing that's the correct one. You
Right.
can also call us on 090 We have a message here, and it is from James from Suleja. You say it is annoying when these people talk about the dollarization of the economy and see if it is the average Nigerian on the streets that handles the dollars wrecking the economy. This is a country where these same politicians who are posing as leaders take kickbacks in dollars. In the last election, delegates were offered stacks and stacks of dollars. We saw a sitting party chairman taking kickbacks on camera in dollars, but yet they will talk about dollarization like it's you and I who are doing the damage. On the issue of minimum wage, a sane, responsible, and reasonable government would be keen on tackling the inflation. The labor is also made up of unreasonable people who only care about their pockets. So let's say minimum wage is raised. What happened to those working for private businesses, entrepreneurs, and petty traders and artisans who are also being affected by the biting inflation? Now, here's this is how it works for those who don't understand. The federal government's minimum wage also applies to private sector as well. However, those of you who are concerned about self-employed people and business people, if the minimum wage increases, it means there's more disposable income for employees or for government employees and workers. So what happens is, if I have more money to spend, then you as a business person gets more money. So if I used to buy one mudu of rice or one measure of rice before, if I come now, I may buy two. As a business
Maybe
person,
five.
you get more. If I didn't have money to buy clothes before, now I'm going to buy clothes. So if you sell clothes, you're going to get money from me. And that's how it trickles down. That's how money trickles down. In fact, I would prefer a situation where the money comes from bottom up. So we have artisans making more money. So government creates infrastructure. People are building and being paid, their daily wages, and that money is available for them to spend. That's the easiest way to kickstart the economy. So if, for instance, we're building rail lines, we're building more hospitals, we're building
More housing,
constructing
road
more roads
construction,
and
yeah.
more houses and all of that. People are paid daily wages. They're employed in the thousands and they're paid daily wages. They have more money to spend every blessed day. So that money gets into circulation and it helps the economy, helps boost the economy. That's the easiest way to kickstart the economy. We have this message.
We've got this message, and this message says, "Good morning, Hianacha. The solution is not increase in minimum wage. It's evident that increase in minimum wage had never solved our economic problems. The solution is on price control. If we can control the prices of goods, there wouldn't be any need for periodic increase in minimum wage." Kumode from Kubwa right there. Strong point Kumode has right there. And then somebody be asking the question, how exactly does this affect the Nigerian space if you increase the minimum wage? Let's give an attempt to also break it down just a little bit. There are several ways that the minimum wage can impact businesses and the economy. For businesses, a higher minimum wage simply means that can increase the wage bill, right, which could impact their profitability and competitiveness. For the fiscal position, a higher minimum wage could lead to higher government spending on social welfare and other programs, and then which could put pressure on the budget. And then for the economy, a higher minimum wage could lead to higher inflation and unemployment to absorb the increased cost. Now, in fact, do you really think that these are valid concerns, or do you think that the benefits of a higher minimum wage outweighs the risk? Kumode right there says it's not. We've been talking about this increase, and it has not really solved problems. That what we should look at is the price control, for goods or for services. That this would, end the need for a periodic increase in minimum wage. I don't know for certain what country it is, but it's an African country where their money is in millions. Somebody messaged me and said, I just need some about, is it 2 million naira, 2 million, I can't remember the currency. And when I converted, it was 10,000 naira in Nigeria. And I'm like, for real? So we don't want to get to that point, because if we, for fear.
Places where they buy bread for 2 billion kwacha. By the way, we're getting there. Currently, the average bread sells for, you can't buy bread for less, good bread, for less than 1,000 naira. For those who, I'm just saying, family sized.
That's
loaves,
right.
Good ones sell for at least 1,000, 1,500 naira. One bread that when I moved to Abuja, one bread that I started to buy at the time, liked it, was sold for about 350 naira. This was about 3 years ago.
Okay.
And now that bread sells for 1,500 naira, and it's just a situation. So my salary hasn't really changed from then to now,
right.
Significantly.
Yeah.
But the bread price has gone up about 300% or more.
And that's
that's the reality for most Nigerians.
Well, anyways,
okay, go ahead.
A good place to just call it a close on the program today. I want to say a big thank you to you. I mean, it's been a very, very valid point, each and every one of us, and I want to encourage us. I mean, I got one of us who messaged saying that, look, I think it will never work. It's just over. And those statements like that, we should, try to look on the brighter side, because if we cannot together speak about the matters that concern Nigeria and work towards, collectively making it rightly, who else are you going to